Welcome everybody to Hunt's Fantasy Football 2009. I'm your host, Kevin Silva, along with
Billy Delaney, and boy, do we have a show for you today. We're going to talk new Hunt's order, drafting tonight, by the way. We're going to talk about the busted ravioli with Marco Corrado. Patrick Hanlon has a new segment on the show, and a very special feature. We have an interview with Anthony Guerrero.
This is the greatest vidcast on earth.
And today on the vidcast, we're not only going to be talking about Hunt's fantasy football, but we're going to be talking about the new Hunt's order. That's right, Mr. Zach Lombard sat down for a very special interview with me to tell us why he created the league.
If Hunt's isn't going to be a keeper league, then I'm going to make one.
Commissioner of the new Hunt's order, Zach Lombard, is giving us all another fantasy outlet this season. And Zach says there are other benefits to the new Hunt's order than just being a keeper league.
You know, to have a semi-important fantasy football league within our group where you know, everyone who we see all the time is going to be involved. You know, I mean, I wanted to make it a 14-team league, you know, until Rossi declined the invitation.
The new league gives Gillette his own team, which he originally had in our original vote 2 years ago, and also gets Boner involved with fantasy football, which he's been wanting to do for a long time. However, Jason Rossi, the commissioner of Hunt's Fantasy Football, doesn't want to join this league.
And, you know, so I was a little surprised when he said no, especially because he's made it fairly public that he does do. It's not like Hunt's is his only fantasy football league. I believe I've heard him say that he does do other football leagues, so it's not like he's opposed to doing a league outside of Hunt's. So, you know, I don't know why exactly he wouldn't do it.
And Zach said one of the main purposes for the new league is to show people what a keeper league is all about.
It really seemed like the main problem with people who were on the fence about it was that they didn't really know about a keeper league. They had never really done it or really knew about it, and they just seemed like nervous to you know, take the prestige of the Hunt's Fantasy Football League and to jeopardize that by, you know, basically gambling the way we do things for something completely different.
And Zach says he's going to handle the job of commissioner of the new Hunt's order as straightforward as possible.
No, I'm not going to buy Christmas presents with the league money.
All right, well, you heard it here. The new Hunt's order, drafting tonight. What do you think?
The Wolf Pack is back. I think it's a great idea. This brings competition to the league. It's making Rossi shit his pants because we all know he's nervous about another league starting with all the members from this league, Hunt's.
I think it's a great idea. I think, Zach, kudos to you. We needed a test run on a keeper league. Thought it was a great idea. I'm actually excited about the draft tonight.
I'm very excited. I'm excited to do a keeper league. I like the fact that it didn't happen in this league, the Hunt's league, but, you know, I get to try it out in Zach's league. I get to try out ESPN, and I just think it's funny that Rossi wouldn't join the league.
I mean, it's Rossi. He's a big wet pussy. This is what happens when something challenges his league, and I bet you he hopes it fails, but I don't. I mean, it's
absolutely he hopes it fails. He didn't join the league because he doesn't want any part of it. He's afraid that people are going to like Zach's league better than this league. He says he's not doing that league because this is the only league that matters, but we know he's in 2 other fantasy leagues, as Zach said, at least 2 other ones.
He is in 2 other leagues. I'm in several other leagues.
I'm in 5 leagues.
Only 1 matters to me, and I'm hoping this year that 2 will matter to me. I've been in other money leagues with Hunts, and honestly, I don't pay any attention. Hopefully this will give me another fantasy option, especially if I had a year like I had last year. So hopefully I have a good draft tonight like I had in our draft, and we got plenty more coming up for you. The 2009 Hunt's draft. Kevin Silva with the first pick. How do you think he did?
I just want to start off by saying, how excited was I? I think I shit my pants a little bit when they announced my name. But overall, I think I had a pretty good draft. Took AP first. I know some people thought Tom Brady was going to go, this person, that person. AP, I had to go with him, big running back.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've shit my pants many a times, and I could only imagine what would happen if I got first pick. But I think the shit my pants moment was Pachi, who always gets first, second, or third pick. Got the 12th pick, and in fact, last year you had the 12th, and he had the first, so it was just a complete worst of first.
I think it's just funny how the roles have reversed this year. I mean, Pachi had first pick last year, I believe, and did he win the league? Yeah.
Yeah, Murphy's Law, anything that can happen will happen.
And so I'm hoping, since that happened last year, it's going to happen to me this year. I'm going to win.
By the way, I predicted in the pre-draft that Pachi would get the last pick, and he wouldn't know how to handle it. And I don't think he did know how to handle it. I don't think his draft was good. In fact, I think the person sitting to the right of me had a shitty draft. He's light at wide receiver. He picked Carson Palmer early. I mean, Kevin, can you talk about your drafting strategy a little bit?
Well, Carson Palmer, I admit that I think I went a little early on Carson Palmer, but I think we have a man crush to the left of me with the Steves of the NFL: Steve Slayton, Steve Smith, Steven Jackson.
My first 3 picks.
This kid is up Steven Jackson's ass, like we all know. He tries to pick him every year, and if he doesn't get him, he tries to trade for him every year.
Hey, second round, it's not a bad pick late in the second round. I thought it was still pretty good for him to be on the board.
Don't hate on me when you took Tony Romo, who has pretty much no weapons. Who's he throwing to this year besides Witten? Nobody.
Witten, Roy Williams, Miles Austin, Patrick Creighton. Who you took? You took Patrick Creighton.
Patrick Creighton. What round? Very late. I took Patrick Creighton pretty late in the draft. And Tony Romo doesn't have T.O. anymore. Roy Williams hasn't done too much.
Except be a fantastic wide receiver his whole career, except for being injured last year.
And he's injured right now.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, so.
But another bad draft, I thought, Josh London. Again, I thought he went for a reach of a quarterback early. Last year, he picked the guy from Cleveland a little bit too early, Derek Anderson. This year, picked Matt Ryan, where I think he could have gotten the receiver first, who you took, Roddy White, and then come back and get the combo. He missed out on the combo. Kevin missed out on his combo. I missed out on my combo. Anthony missed out on his combo. Rossi missed out on his combo.
I don't think...
No hookups this year, and I think that's a big thing.
I don't think there were any major hookups. I mean, I have, Lavernius Coles or Carson Palmer. That's nothing big, nothing to write home about. But going back to Josh, Josh had a horrible draft just like he does every year. I really don't think he knows what he's doing in fantasy football, especially on draft day.
But as the person who won it last year will tell you, and the person who got beat by him, Kevin, it's a lot of luck. Josh made the playoffs last year. He's made the playoffs quite a few times, so anything can happen, and it usually does. I'd like to talk about the people who I think actually had a very good draft right now. I know we're just jumping around here, but we'll let the podcast, we'll give them something. I know they haven't been on in a while, so we'll let them do a full draft analysis. But right now I want to talk about a person who I think has had 2 good drafts in a row, and that's Jimmy Holland.
Jimmy Holland, he has had some good drafts.
And not to be up Jimmy Holland's ass, because
because Marco has that spot pretty much taken out, but that's full. But no, Jimmy Holland, he had a strong draft. I think he's a little light in his running back positions, but overall he has a pretty solid team. Another person I was really pleasantly surprised with their draft is Zach Lombard, who got ripped last year for having a horrible draft. And this year, I think he has one of the most well-rounded teams in the league.
I think Zach made an excellent recovery with his draft. And getting back to Jimmy Holland for a second, last year he stocked up on the wide receivers. Same thing this year. And he seems to go with the plan of rookie running backs, because every year for the last several years, a rookie running back has come out and performed huge. And he's got 2 of them this year. Last year he had, I believe, he had Chris Johnson and Michael Turner, not a rookie, but a first-year starter in Atlanta. He got him a little bit later than, a top-tier running back, but he wound up being one of the biggest performers. I think his team has the same potential to do that again. And this year he's got the benefit of Drew Brees as his quarterback. So I think Jimmy, I hate to say it, but I respected your draft this year. I don't respect anything else you usually do.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I don't respect Jimmy. I think he had an okay draft.
I think he had an okay draft. And coming up next, we have a very special segment. We have an interview with a man you don't want to miss. I know Blake doesn't want to miss.